Give our audience a brief history of Mike Park, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh boy. I started getting into music in the early 80s. Started going to punk shows in San Jose, California. And so that was my first introduction to punk. And it just never ended. So 30 years later, I'm still very involved in punk. The music, the scene, the ideas. And so I've been lucky enough to be able to make music my living, running a record label and just having fun with it. Now that I'm a father with a couple kids, it's turned into children's music. You grow up and you become parents, and so I was hoping that people who are familiar with my music would have kids.
Yeah. It was bound to happen, right?
Exactly.
It was bound to happen. Let's talk about your debut kids album, Smile. When did you seriously start considering recording an album geared toward kids?
I think it was pretty early on. Even when my oldest, when she was just born, I would just serenade her with little made-up songs, and I thought, oh, this could be fun to write a kids album. So it was very early on, within the first few months of being a dad, I got the idea of putting out a kids record. And I thought, since I have a record label, maybe it might be easy to do this, but I'm finding out it's difficult because I don't know anything about this genre.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the dream would be to be able to bring the entire family on a summer vacation, play the kid fests, and just have fun and be able to make a little money on vacation. Usually you go on vacation, it costs a lot of money. So if I could actually go on vacation, get paid a little bit, see the world with my family, that would be amazing. I mean, that would be the dream goal.
So you're ready to take your kids out on the road?
I'm thinking maybe I'd like to do a little test, maybe even next summer. They'll be around 6 and 4 at that time, and maybe something up to the Northwest and see how they do.
So your older one is probably gets it a little bit more what you're doing. So what does she say? Does she like it when you are recording songs? Does she give you ideas?
She definitely doesn't give me ideas, but she just likes hearing the music. She likes jumping around, and what she likes to do is she likes to jump on the bed while I play songs. That's our activity together. But I have a little music room in the garage that I built, and I have a drum set in there and piano, so they bang away on music all the time. So
awesome.
I'm hoping to really make music a priority in their lives by just having them absorb it at an early age, and hopefully they'll just want to play music.
Do you have any plans to possibly release a kids album, from anybody else besides yourself?
Oh, most definitely. I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to start a side label, a kids-only label. We've already got releases coming out planned. We have Kempi Gooley from the Groovy Ghoulies going to do a kids album. We have Greg and his wife Shanti, Greg from the Bouncing Souls. They're going to do a release, and then Dan Pothouse from the band MU30, he's going to do a release. So the wheels are in motion. I haven't made any announcements, so this is the first announcement right here.
Have you taken your kids to any concerts?
Yeah, they've seen me play a couple times. There's a house down the street, a punk house that does shows. So I've played there a couple times, and they've come down.
That's awesome.
And also I played it when Yo Gabba Gabba came to San Francisco. I played the Yo Gabba show, and they came to that. They've had a chance to see me in a few different settings.
Did they come at you with any reaction after the show, like the next day? Did they talk to you about it at all?
Not really. It's just more like, I think they like to play make-believe singing, so we'll do little concerts where they just hold the mic and lip sync and just dance around. So we do that a lot. And I'm not sure what they think. I'm not sure they know what exactly I do for a living. But I know they know it's something with music and being on stage. I also officiated weddings, so they've gone to a bunch of weddings that I've officiated, so they're just kind of like, their daddy's up there again.
These kids just don't know how cool we are. Not yet. They will someday.
I hope so.
Okay, so you've toured the country a couple of times, right?
I've toured the U.S. probably, I mean, many times, over 20 times in my lifetime.
So what would be your, say, favorite location or your favorite city across the U.S.?
Well, I think the U.S., it's always been Chicago, to be honest. And if you go back to, we started touring, I started touring in the late 80s. And even back then, first time we went to Chicago, it was always the best place to go. It was the place you drew the best. It was the place you sold the most merchandise. And I never knew why. And I still don't know why.
Yeah.
But even to this day, like, we have so much support from Illinois, from the record label. A lot of it's due to the bands that we've released, but
Yep.
Chicago, I owe a lot to just Illinois, Chicago, and the suburbs.
What would be your favorite restaurant here?
What's my favorite restaurant in Chicago? Let me think about that. Favorite restaurant in Chicago? I don't know if I have a favorite restaurant. Usually, okay, I will say my favorite place. It's. I don't think anyone would say this, but I like going to Super Dog.
Hiya. Thanks for stopping.
I had a PBS documentary about the best hot dog places in America, and on tour we were watching it. In Chicago was this place called Super Dog, and it has a big cartoon character of two super dogs on top of it. It's been featured on a bunch of different food programs, but for some reason I always go there when I'm in town.
So if you brought your kids here, you'd want to take them to Super Dog?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and that kind of brings me to the songs on the album. My absolute favorite, of course, is Turn Off the Lights. I really, really dig that song a lot. Pick out one of the songs on the album and tell me the story behind it.
There's a song, Everybody Loves to Jump.
Yeah.
If you hear that there's an Operation Ivy reference.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was cool. They incorporate that with the song. And then it's, the few times that I've had a chance to play it, it's just fun to see everyone participate in the lyrics. Shake your head, move your arms.
Before we did our video call, my toddler had me play that about 10 times for her.
Nice.
Do you still run your record label out of your parents' garage?
Most definitely.
That's
it's
very
still
cool.
in my parents' garage. I just left there about half an hour ago.
Very cool. When did you start playing an instrument?
Probably around 6 years old, I started playing piano. Soon to be the same age as my daughter here.
And then when did you pick up the saxophone?
When I was 9.
9?
Yeah.
Is that something you did in school? Like while you were in school, you played in the band?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Did you teach yourself to play the guitar? Did you have lessons?
Yeah, I'm self-taught on guitar, and then I studied music in college, so as a requirement, you have to know fundamental piano. So even though I took lessons really young, I had forgotten everything, and just became reacquainted with piano in college.
So tell me, where can people purchase Smile?
You can get the album on iTunes if you're someone who likes to just download something really quick, or if you want a physical copy, you can get it at AsianManRecords.com. Check out the local punk record store. There's not many that exist anymore.
Yeah.
But if it does, I'm sure they'll carry it. But definitely not available in any bigger chains. It's just strictly mail order and then indie stores.
Cool.
So maybe like Reckless in Chicago would have it.
We'll have to check that out. And you did press some vinyl, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So get that while it's still. How many copies did you press?
We did 500.
Yeah. That's a hot item.
Pink white vinyl. It looks really pretty. It comes with crayons and has some coloring sheets in it.